My name is Brian. You know, everybody's got their own pet peeves. Isn't that true? Don't we all have our own little pet peeves, the things that just kind of annoy us and get under our skin? One of the things that nothing gets under my skin. I'm impervious to annoyance, right? But one of the things that I find less than thrilling is what I like to call communication etiquette. When I was growing up, my dad always taught me to answer the phone, "Hello, this is Brian," or Macintosh residents. And whenever I called someone else's home, when they answered the phone, to always say, "Hello, this is Brian McIntosh. May I please speak to so-and-so?" In other words, my father taught me growing up to have what he called phone etiquette. Well, I believe the phone etiquette is critically important, especially if you're in a business, or an occupation where professionalism, right, advances your business or advances your image. I think that phone etiquette is critically important. I think my father taught me a valuable lesson when I was a young man. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, in today's world, we have a lot more ways to communicate than just on the phone, right? I mean, we've got the phone, we got the cell phone, we got Skype, we've got FaceTime, we've got Google Chat, we've got text messages, we've got Skype messages, we've got Facebook messages, we've got all these different ways that we can communicate. But one of the things that I'm seeing overwhelmingly in communication today, and this, by the way, comes from people across the spectrum. This isn't just young people. This isn't just maybe non-professionals, blue-collar workers, but no. It's everybody from top CEOs to companies all the way down to the 19-year-old kid just got their first smartphone and everybody in between. There's a trend that's happening in communication that is absolutely appalling, but it's so insidious that I don't think anyone recognizes it. Everyone knows it annoys them, and everyone knows that they don't appreciate it, but no one can quite put their finger on what it is. And I'm going to let you know what it is. It's communication etiquette has been lost through these things right here. With the advent of smartphones and text messaging and Facebook messaging and things like that, etiquette, communication etiquette, what our parents taught us about phone etiquette, has gone out the window with these. Even people who are very courteous on the telephone oftentimes are very discourteous or even downright rude when it comes to other forms of communication, because unlike the telephone, where we had generations of people passing down the proper etiquette for how to use the telephone, there's been such an advancement in how we communicate that there's really been no standard of etiquette for things like text messaging or Facebook messaging or Skype messaging and things like that. I'm talking specifically about the written communications. How many of us have ever done this? How many of us have ever called someone and they don't answer the phone? Instead, they send it to voicemail, and seconds later you get a text that goes, "What's up?" And you're thinking, well, if I had wanted to communicate to you what's up in a text message, I would have texted you. But because I called you, it's because I need to talk to you, right? You ever thought that? Or how about this? Have you ever been in a text message conversation with someone and you send something and they send something and then you send a response that you know is either controversial, or you're asking a question that you think they may not want to answer, or you're contradicting something they may have said, and all communication just stops. They just stop responding altogether. Has that ever happened to you? How about this? Have you ever been, like someone just called you, or you just called them. In other words, they're standing right next to their phone. And oh, by the way, you happen to know this person responds to every text message, because anytime you're around them, you can't even carry on a conversation with them, because if their phone buzzes, man, they're like this right away. And you send them a text and they don't respond at all, ever. And they read it, right? Has this ever happened to you guys? I want you to know that those little frustrations are caused by a lack of communication etiquette when it comes to text messaging, whether it's through a text service or Facebook messaging or Skype messaging or any of the other messaging type services. There's an etiquette that goes along with messaging that pretty much falls right along with telephone conversations and should be adhered to. I want to let you know something. If you can have good communication etiquette, regardless of the means by which you're communicating, you're going to impress a lot of people. Because especially in today's world, there's such a lack of communication etiquette that you're going to stand out in a crowded marketplace if you have some. Let me give you an example. Can you imagine being on a phone conversation with somebody? Hey, George, how's it going? Oh, it's great, man. How's it going for you? Oh, it's going great, George. Me and my wife are just hanging out. We're just, enjoying the day. What about you guys? Oh, yeah, it's a great weekend. Hey, George, man, are we still going to have lunch tomorrow? Click. Can you imagine? How would you feel about George if when you go, hey, are we still having lunch tomorrow? I just, gone. He just hangs up. And then when you see George a week later, he's like, hey, man, what's going on? You wouldn't be like, hey, man, what's going on? You'd be like, George, what? You hung up on me, right? That would be downright insulting. That would be downright rude, right? But yet, don't we do that in text messages? Look, I'm guilty. I've done it. I can't believe I've done it, but I've done it. And I know that almost every one of us has. Where we'll be in a text message. Hey, how's it going? Just great, bud. How are you? Oh, it's going great. Oh, super. Hey, are you still going to be at lunch tomorrow? And you're like, and because you know you're not, you just put the phone down and pretend you didn't see that last message. It's rude. It's my phone just like I just got a text message, right? But I promise I'll look at it. I promise I'll return it when I see it. It's rude. And it's insulting. But we don't think about it that way because we're not face-to-face or voice-to-voice. It's just a written communication. But because that written communication has taken such a prominent role in the way that we operate today, you have to treat written communication the same way that you do verbal or even visual communication. You have to continue a conversation to its completion. You can't just ignore someone. Can you imagine if you were walking up to somebody that you know and you were coming face to face and you said, hello, Sue, how are you? And Sue just went and turned around and walked away. Would you be like, that's just downright rude? But yet that's the same thing that happens when someone knows you're by your phone or they know you're on your phone because they just saw you make a Facebook post 20 seconds ago and they send you a message and you don't respond. See, there's certain things that we can do to make sure that we don't commit the atrocities of a lack of communication etiquette. A couple of those things are never terminate a conversation without making it clear that you're doing so. So someone says, hey, are you going to make it to lunch tomorrow? Instead of just not responding, you respond with, I don't know yet. Let me get back to you. That's polite, right? Or you could say, I don't think so, but let me double check and I'll let you know, or something to that effect, right? Or if the truth is you're not coming, you just might respond with, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it, but I sincerely appreciate the offer, right? In other words, being courteous doesn't go away or become insignificant because you're not face-to-face with someone. So never terminate a conversation without it being clear to the other individual that the conversation is being terminated. Here's the second one. Make time to return your messages. Pleasant or unpleasant as they may be, convenient or inconvenient, treat your messages the same way that you would treat emails or voice messages. Take the time to return them. Be professional, right? And the last thing is when you are in face-to-face communication, don't let this kind of communication come between making eye contact and a good old-fashioned conversation belly-to-belly with another human being. Those three things alone will help you to stand out in a crowded marketplace, improve your communication skills, and will dramatically improve the impression that you make on individuals the first time that you have a non-verbal communication with them over written correspondence. Guys, I'm letting you know right now, it's a changing world. It's happening fast. But if we can begin to adapt to it, but keep in concert with those principles that have served us so well through all the other ways that we communicate, we'll continue to maintain those great habit patterns and those wonderful people skills that make us more successful in everything we do. And that's the dose. Go make it a great day, guys.